Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is WireDogSec back with another video for you guys. And today's video, we are on TryHackMe. We are on the Junior Penetration Tester Learning Path. This is the Metasploit introduction room. This is an introduction to the main components of the Metasploit framework. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Task 1. Introduction to Metasploit. Metasploit is the most widely used exploitation framework. Metasploit is a powerful tool that can support all phases of a penetration testing engagement, from information gathering to post-exploitation. Metasploit has two main versions, Metasploit Pro, the commercial version that facilitates the automation and management of tasks. This version has a graphical user interface or GUI. Now, then we have this Metasploit framework, the open source version that works from the command line. This room will focus on the version installed on the attack box and most commonly used penetration testing Linux distribution. The Metasploit framework is a set of tools that allow information gathering, scanning, exploitation, exploit development, post exploitation, and more. While the primary usage of the Metasploit framework focuses on the penetration testing domain, it is also useful for vulnerability research and exploit development. The main components of the Metasploit framework can be summarized as follows. msfconsole, the main command line interface modules, supporting modules such as exploit scanners, payloads, etc. Tools, standalone tools that will help vulnerability research, vulnerability assessment, or penetration testing. Some of these tools are MSF Venom, Pattern Create, and Pattern Offset. We will cover MSF Venom within this module, but Pattern Create and Pattern Offset are tools useful in exploit development, which is beyond the scope of this module. This room will cover the main components of Metasploit while providing you with a solid foundation on how to find relevant exploits, set parameters, and exploit vulnerable services on the target system. Once you have completed this room, you will be able to navigate and use the Metasploit command line comfortably. All right, I've already deployed the machine. I've already started up the target machine as well. So let's continue on to task number 2 here, main components of Metasploit. While using the Metasploit framework, you will primarily interact with the Metasploit console. You can launch it from the attack box by using the msfconsole command. So let's just go ahead and type that in, msfconsole, to start it up. Okay. The console will be your main interface to interact with the different modules of the Metasploit framework. Modules are small components within the Metasploit framework that are built to perform a specific task, such as exploiting a vulnerability, scanning a target, or performing a brute force attack. Before diving into modules, it would be helpful to clarify a few recurring concepts: vulnerability, exploit, and payload. Exploit, a piece of code that uses a vulnerability present on a target system. Vulnerability, a design, coding, or logic flaw affecting the target system. The exploitation of a vulnerability can result in disclosing confidential information or allowing the attacker to execute code on the target system. Payload, an exploit with or will take advantage of a vulnerability. However, if we want to exploit or want the exploit to have the result we want, gaining access to the target system, read confidential information, etc., we need to use a payload. Payloads are the code that will run on the target system. Modules and categories under each one are listed below. These are given for reference purposes, but you will interact with them throughout the Metasploit console, MSF console. All right, first up, we got the auxiliary. Any supporting modules such as scanners, crawlers, and fuzzers can be found here, and this is what it looks like here, right? So they just listed them out in this tree format, it looks like here. Admin, analyze, bnet client, etc., here. Encoders. Encoders will allow you to encode the exploits and payload in the hope that a signature-based antivirus solution may miss them. Signature-based antivirus and security solutions have a database of known threats. They detect threats by comparing suspicious files to this database and raise an alert if there's a match. Thus, encoders can have a limited success rate, as antivirus solutions can perform additional checks And that is true. A lot of times these encoders still get caught by these antivirus tools. And this is what the list of those encoders look like here. You got CMD, generic, MIP, SBE, a lot of other stuff in here as well. X64, X86. All right, evasion. While encoders will encode the payload, they should not be considered a direct attempt to evade antivirus software. On the other hand, evasion modules will try that with more or less success. And here is the listing of those right here, at least for Windows, it looks like. Exploits. Exploits neatly organized by target system. And here's a list of that down here. AIX, Android, all kinds of exploits for different operating systems, as you can see there. NOPs. NOPs, no operation, do nothing, literally. They are represented in the Intel x86 CPU family with 0x90, following which the CPU will do nothing for one cycle. They are often used as a buffer to achieve consistent payload sizes. And here's a listing of those here. All right, payloads. Payloads are codes that will run on the target system. Exploits will leverage a vulnerability on the target system, but to achieve the desired result, we will need a payload. Examples could be getting a shell, loading a malware or backdoor to the target system, running a command, or launching calc.exe as a proof of concept to add to the penetration testing report. Starting the calculator on the target system remotely by launching the calc.exe application is a benign way to show that we can run commands on the target system. Running a command on the target system is already an important step, but having an interactive connection that allows you to type commands that will be executed on the target system is better, such as an interactive command line is called a shell. Metasploit offers the ability to send different payloads that can open shells on the target system. And here's a listing of those here: adapter, single, stagers, stages. You will see four directories under payloads: adapters, single, stagers, and stages. Let's go over them. Adapters. An adapter wraps single payloads to convert them into different formats. For example, a normal single payload can be wrapped inside a PowerShell adapter, which will make a single PowerShell command that will execute the payload. Singles. Self-contained payloads. Add user, launch, notepad.exe, etc. that do not need to be or not do that do not need to download an additional component to run. That's singles. All right, stages. Responsible for setting up a connection channel between Metasploit and the target system. Useful when working with staged payloads. Staged payloads will first upload a stager on the target system, then download the rest of the payload stage. This provides some advantages as the initial size of the payload will be relatively small compared to the full payload sent at once. And you got stages here, downloaded by the stager. This will allow you to use larger sized payloads. Metasploit has a subtle way to help you identify single, also called inline payloads and staged payloads. And here's an example here: generic shell underscore reverse underscore TCP. Windows x64 shell reverse underscore TCP. Both are reverse Windows shells. The former is an inline or single payload as indicated by the underscore between the shell and reverse, while the latter is a stage payload as indicated by the forward slash between shell and reverse. All right, so if it's got these underscores in there like that, that's going to be the inline or single, and then this other one is going to be the staged payload here because it has these forward slashes in there. So there you go. Post. Post modules will be useful on the final stage of the penetration testing process listed above, post exploitation. And there's a listing of these here. If you wish to familiarize yourself further with these modules, you can find them under the modules folder of your Metasploit installation. For the attack box, they're under the opt Metasploit framework embedded framework module. So check that out if you're interested. And question time. What is the name of the code taking advantage of a flaw on the target system? Well, we know that's going to be exploit, as we saw above. What is the name of the code that runs on the target system to achieve the attacker's goal? Well, that's going to be the payload, right? That's going to be the shell that you drop on the box, etc., etc. And what are self-contained payloads called? Self-contained payloads are going to be the singles. And this one here with the forward slash underscore, this is going to be a, hey everybody, just a quick little blurb here. As you can see here, most people that view my channel are not subscribers. If you're new here, Please consider subscribing to the channel. If you're enjoying the video, please consider hitting the like button. It helps get me in the algorithm, helps spread the good word out there, helps bring more people and increase our glorious community here. All right, I'm all about helping out others. I know what it's like to come up in cybersecurity or even try to get into cybersecurity and not knowing where to look. I'm just having this channel up so I can help out other people. All right, that's all I got. Be singles because remember, as discussed above, it has that underscore right in there separating this out. Now, if it didn't have this underscore, so let's just scroll back up real quick. See, it's got these underscores in the shell, underscore reverse, underscore TCP. All right, and the other one is going to be this here. It's got the forward slash in between shell and reverse, like so. That's how you can tell the difference. Now let's go ahead and continue on with task number six, or sorry, task number 3, MSF console, and let's see what they have to say. As previously mentioned, the console will be your main interface to Metasploit framework. You can launch it using MSF console command on your attack box terminal or any system that has the Metasploit framework installed, which we've already had it started up here. Once launched, you will see the command line changes to MSF6 or MSF5, depending on the installed version of Metasploit. The Metasploit console, MSF console, can be used just like a regular command line shell. As you can see below, the first command is ls, which lists the contents of the folder from which Metasploit was launched using the MSF console command. So if we type in ls here, it should pop up with a bunch of other stuff in here. It is followed by a ping sent to Google's DNS IP address 8.8.8.8. As we operate from the attack box, which is Linux, we had to add the -C1 option, so only a single ping was sent. Otherwise, the ping process would continue until it is stopped using Control+C. And here's a screenshot of what they're talking about here, ls, and then the ping down here. It will support most Linux commands, including clear to clear the terminal screen, but will not allow you to use some features of a regular command line. e.g. does not support output redirection as seen below. All right, you see they're trying to um, do that redirection here and it does not work. No such command. While on the subject, the help command can be used on its own or for a specific command. Below is the help menu for the set command we will cover soon. That's what it looks like here, help set. All right, let's bring up some information about that. You can use the history command to see commands you have typed earlier. So you can type in history and see the following commands you already typed. All right, kind of useful. And an important feature of MSF Console is the support of tab completion. This will come in handy later when using Metasploit commands or dealing with modules. For example, if you start typing HE and press the tab key, you will see it auto completes to help. So let's just try that out real quick. All right, HE, and then tab it, help. There you go. MSF Console is managed by context. This means that unless set as a global variable, all parameter settings will be lost if you change the module you have decided to use. And in the example below, we have used the ms17-010- I'm sorry, underscore eternal blue exploit, and we have set parameters such as our host. If we were to switch to another module, e.g. a port scanner, we would need to set the rhost value again, as all changes we have made remain in the context of the ms17 underscore 010 underscore eternal blue exploit. Let us look at the example below. To have a better understanding of this feature, we will use the ms17-010 eternal blue exploit for illustration purposes. So as you type the following here, use and then this particular exploit. All right, so let's just follow along. Let me delete all this stuff out of here, paste like so. You will see the command line prompt change from MS6 to MSF exploit, and then the following exploits you switch to, as we can see there. The Eternal Blue is an exploit allegedly developed by the U.S. National Security Agency, NSA. We all know that they probably did it, for a vulnerability affecting the SMB version 1 server on numerous Windows systems. The SMB server message block is widely used in Windows networks for file sharing and even sending files to printers. Eternal Blue was leaked by the cyber criminal group Shadow Brokers in April 2017 In May 2017, this vulnerability was exploited worldwide in the WannaCry ransomware attack, and this was quite a fiasco. Okay, and here's a snippet of what that looks like here. No payload configured defaulting to this particular payload here. The module to be used can also be selected with the use command followed by the number at the beginning of the search result line. While the prompt has changed, you will notice we can still run the commands previously mentioned. This means we did not enter a folder as you would typically expect in an operating system command line. All right, so let's just try to follow along. Let's do an ls on it, right? And it just brought up everything in the current folder that we're in. Let's see here. All right, they're going to talk about show options. I'm going to go ahead and just type this in real quick. Show options. Okay. The prompt tells us now that we have a context set in which we will work. You can see this by typing the show options command. There you go. Now you can set various different options in here as they have listed out, right? Our host, our port, and some other stuff in there. This will print options related to the exploit we have chosen earlier. The show options command will have different outputs depending on the context it is used in. The example above shows that this exploit will require we set variables like our host and our port. On the other hand, a post-exploitation module may only need us to set a session ID. See the screenshot below. A session is an existing connection to the target system that the post-exploitation module will use. And this is what they're talking about here, right? This particular post module apparently is this enum domain users. The show command can be used in any context, followed by a module type, auxiliary, payload, exploit, etc. to list available modules. The example below lists payloads that can be used with the MS-17-010 Eternal Blue. So if you go in, just clear all this out, and you type in show payloads, like so, and it should come up with all the payloads that's applicable that you can use here. And let's go ahead and continue on here. If used from the msfconsole prompt, show command will list all the modules. The use and show options commands we have seen so far are identical for all modules in Metasploit. You can leave the context using the back command. All right, so if you want to exit out of this, you can just hit back, right? Like so. Now we're back to just regular, no context and everything. Further information on any module can be obtained by typing the info command with its context. All right, so if we go back into there, that they have showed there, I'm just going to tap up arrow and you can type in info. There you go. Now you can see information about this particular module we're in. Alternatively, you can use the info command followed by the module's path for the from the msfconsole prompt, using info, and then the following module you want to take a look at. Info is not a help menu. It will display detailed information on the module, such as author, relevant sources, etc. Search. One of the most useful commands in msfconsole is search. This command will search the Metasploit framework database for modules relevant to the given search parameter. You can conduct searches using CVE numbers, exploit names, eternal blue, heartbleed, etc. on your target system. So if we copy what they're doing here, let's clear this out. We can do a search and then ms 17-010. Oh, if I can spell search correctly. There we go, search. Now it pulls up stuff. Now, if you want to use these to make it easy, you can shortcut it, right? You can use 0. Bam, now we're using that. See how simple that was? The output of the search command provides an overview of each return module. You may notice that the name column already gives more information than just the module name. You can see the type of module auxiliary, exploit, etc. in the category of the module scanner, admin, Windows, Unix, etc. You can use any module return in a search result with the command use followed by the number at the beginning of the result line, e.g. use 0 instead of using the long the long format, which I just showed you guys. Another central piece of information returned is in the rank column. Exploits are rated based on their reliability. The table below provides their respective descriptions here, and I'm not going to read through this, but be sure to read through all this information here. Pause the video and check that out, and check out the source here, this link. All right, you got excellent, great, good, normal, average, low, manual. You can direct the search function using keywords such as type and platform. For example, if we wanted our search results to only include auxiliary modules, we could set the type to auxiliary. The screenshot below shows the output of the search type auxiliary telnet command. So this is what they typed in here. I'm just going to copy and paste like so. Let's clear this stuff out of here like so. All right, there we go. Now paste this in. There we go. All right. Please remember that exploits take advantage of a vulnerability on the target system and may always show unexpected behavior. A low-ranking exploit may work perfectly, and an excellent ranked exploit may not, or worse, crash the target system. And I've done this before, trying to use this Eternal Blue. All right. Sometimes the exploits will BSOD or cause blue screens of death on the target system. Sometimes it won't. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you'll knock systems over. That's why you should always try to test out these exploits before you start running them on production machines. All right, answer your question time. How would you search for a module related to Apache? Well, we can use that search command, right? Search and then Apache, like so, to bring up some stuff about Apache. Who provided the auxiliary scanner, SSH underscore login module? All right, so let me just copy this. Remember, you can use that info command to figure that out. So let's go ahead and clear all this stuff out of here. And you can type in info and then paste this in. All right, now if we go through and search here, we can see that this was provided by this following email here. And looks like we're only going to need that first part here. So Todd B is going to be our answer. And let's continue on to task number 4, working with modules. Working with modules. You can launch the target machine attached to this room to replicate the example shown below. Any Metasploit version 5 or 6 will have menus and screens similar to those shown here, so you can use the attack box or any operating system installed on your local computer. Once you have entered the context of a module using the use command followed by the module name, as seen earlier, you will need to set parameters. The most common parameters you will use are listed below. Remember, based on the module you use, additional or different parameters may need to be set. It is good practice to use the show options command to list the required parameters. All parameters are set using the same command syntax, which is set and then the parameter name value. Before we proceed, remember always to check the MSF console prompt to ensure you are in the right context. When dealing with the Metasploit, you may see 5 different prompts here. The regular command prompt, you cannot use Metasploit commands here. The MSF console prompt, MSF6 or MSF5, depending on your installed version, is the MSF console prompt. As you can see, no context is set here. So context specific commands to set parameter and run modules cannot be used here. A context prompt once you have decided to use a module and use the set command to choose it. The MSF console will show the context. You can use context specific commands, e.g. Set our host, yada yada yada. And as we do that here, the Meterpreter prompt, Meterpreter is an important payload we will see in detail later in this room. This means a Meterpreter agent was loaded to the target system and connected back to you. You can use Meterpreter specific commands here. That's what it looks like here, Meterpreter, a shell on the target system. Once the exploit is completed, you may have access to a command shell on the target system. This is a regular command line, and all commands typed here run on the target system. And that's what that looks like here. As mentioned earlier, the show options command will list all available parameters. And that's what that looks like here, as we already saw earlier, right? And let's see here. As you can see in the screenshot above, some of these parameters require a value for the exploit to work. Some require a parameter. Values will be pre-populated. Make sure you check if these should remain the same for your target. For example, a web exploit could have an R port, remote port, the port on the target system. Metasploit will try to connect to and run the exploit. Value preset to 80, but your target web application could be using port 8080. So you got to make sure to check that and change it as needed, just like with those manual payloads, right? Let's see here. And, or sorry, the manual proof of concept exploit code, right? Those Python scripts we saw in the other video. In this example, we will set the rhost parameter to the IP address of our target system using the set command, and that's what that looks like here. All right, so let's just follow along here. I'm going to up arrow back into this particular module here. All right, if we do show options, like so, there should be nothing set in here. There you go. If we scroll up a little bit, see there's like nothing in there set, right? Except for localhost, apparently. Now, let's see here. I think you can just type in options as well, and it'll pull up some stuff. Yeah. So you can type in show options, just show, or just options. And let's go ahead and just copy and paste this over. You're going to set the rhost to this particular IP address here. Set it to whichever your target machine is. And let's see. Once you have set a parameter, you can use the show options command to check the value was set correctly. All right, so if we clear all this stuff out of here, and I'm going to up arrow and just do options, and it should now be in there for rhost. There we go. And you see that our port was already set for us. Parameters you will often use are rhost, remote host, the IP address of the target system. A single IP address or a network range can be set. This will support CIDR, which is classless inter-domain routing notation, which is /24, etc., or a network range, which is the following here. You can also use a file where targets are listed, one target per line, using the file and then the path, the target file, etc. As you can see below, and this is what it looks like here. All right. And you got our port, which is the remote port. You got the payload. The payload you will use in the exploit: lhost, localhost, the attacking machine, your attack box, lport, which is local port, the port you will use for the reverse shell connect back to. You got the session. Each connection established to the target system using Metasploit. And let's continue on. You can override any set parameter using the set command, again, with a different value. You can also clear any parameter value using the unset command, or clear all set parameters using the unset all command, as shown like this. See how that's set now? Now if we go ahead and try that, let's do unset all, and there should be nothing in there. All right, then we're going to do options. Oops, if I can spell. There we go. Now we go back up here and see how rhost is no longer there. All right, you can use the setg command to set values that will be used for all modules. Setg command is used like the set command. The difference is that if you use the set command to set a value using a module and you switch to another module, you will need to set the value again. The setg command allows you to set the value so it can be used by default across different modules. You can clear any value set with the setg using set or using unset g, right? So that's setting like global value or yeah, global values, all right? The example below uses the following flow here. All right, one, use the MS17 eternal blue exploitable. We set the rhost using set the g command instead of the set command. Use back command to leave the exploit context. 4, use auxiliary. This module is a scanner to discover MS17-010 vulnerabilities. The show options command shows the rhost parameter is already populated with the IP address of the given target, and that's what it looks like here. All right, see, using that particular module, and they used this set G for our host. All right, various different things here as they already explained. So take a moment to go through all this here, and we're going to continue on. The setg command sets a global value that will be used until you exit Metasploit or clear it using the unsetg command using modules. Once all module parameters are set, you can launch the module using the exploit command, or you can use run. Metasploit also supports the run command, which is an alias created for the exploit command, as the word exploit did not make sense when using modules that were not exploits: port scanners, vulnerability scanners, etc. The exploit command can be used without any parameters using the -z command, parameter. The exploit-z command will run the exploit and background the session as soon as it opens, and this is what it looks like here. All right. This will return you to the context prompt from which you run the exploit. Some modules support the check option. This will check if the target system is vulnerable without exploiting it. Sessions. Once a vulnerability has been successfully exploited, a session will be created. This is the communication channel established between the target system and Metasploit. You can use the background command to background the session prompt and go back to the msfconsole prompt. I believe you can use BG as well as a background session to shorthand it. Alternatively, Control plus Z can be used to background sessions. These sessions command can be used from the MSF console prompt or any context to see the existing sessions. To interact with any session, you can use session-I for interact. Command followed by the desired session number, like so. So they're showing the sessions here, right? So pick one to interact with. They're interacting with session number 2 here, as shown. All right, answering question time. How would you set the L port value to 6666? Well, we can use the set, right? So set L port to 6666, like so. All right, how would you set the global value for our host to 10.10.19.23? Well, remember you can use that set G for global value, right? And then our hosts, so that's what we want to set, and then it should be this following IP address, like so. What command would you use to clear a set payload? Remember, we can use the unset and then payload, like so. What command do you use to proceed with the exploitation phase? You can remember you can use exploit, you can use the shorthand version, which is run, or the alias version, whatever you want to call it, right? Now let's just go back a step here and let's see if they want us to actually exploit this box or not. Well, let's do it here. Let's do options, all right? And let's go ahead and set this R host back to our target machine. So let me scroll up and grab that IP address real quick. All right, so we're going to do set and then R hosts, all caps, and paste that in there like so. And then let's try to run it, see if it does anything. There we go. It looks like it's running. It says it's vulnerable. And let's see if that finishes out or not. But let's see, task 5 summary. All right, as we have seen so far, Metasploit is a powerful tool that facilitates the exploitation process. The exploitation process comprises 3 main steps: finding the exploit, customizing the exploit, and exploiting the vulnerable service. Metasploit provides many modules that you can use for each step of the exploitation process. Through this room, we have seen the basic components of Metasploit and their respective use. It would be best if you also had used the MS-17 010 Eternal Blue exploit to gain access to the target VM, and which we just did. In the following rooms, we will cover Metasploit and its components in more detail. Once completed, this module should give you a good understanding of the capabilities of Metasploit. Hopefully, you guys stayed and tagged along, and as you can see here, we've successfully navigated to this particular box here. So you can do this. You can do this to try to figure out some commands in here, help, whatever. Let's do hash dump, see if that works. Right, you can just go in here and just play around with stuff in here. All right, hash dump works. Get system. Let's see if that works. Already running as system. Awesome, 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 awesome. I believe you can do like host name. Nope, you can't. All right, but this has a list of commands you can play around with if you choose to do so. All right, familiarize yourself with this process, and as I was saying before, um, you can use like BG to like background a session and stuff like that. Shell drop into the system shell of the machine you're in. Sysinfo is also good. So sysinfo tells you stuff about the particular machine you're in, and I mean, just get familiarized with this. All right. So if you want to background a session, right? Let's try this. BG. There we go. Right, and you can do sessions. Right, to show the sessions, and if you want to get back in there, you can do sessions -I and then the number of the session. So now we're back in here, right? So we do sysinfo again. There we go. All right, now that pretty much wraps up this video. Hopefully you all found this video of value. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you later.